Welcome to In Depth with Academia, where we take a closer look at groundbreaking research. I'm Richard Price, your host, and today we dive into a paper that's tackling deeply significant issues from the past to impact the present and future. The paper, A Prescription for Healing a National Wound, 2 doses of executive direct action equals a portion of justice and a serving of redress for America and the Black Panther Party, by Angela Allen Bell, shares insights into historic injustices faced by the Black Panther Party and the vital need for redress. Quite a title, right? So what's this all about? Allen Bell digs into the post-civil rights struggle against racial injustice, highlighting the Black Panther Party's BPP significant contributions. The BPP didn't stand idly by. They boldly answered President Kennedy's call to act and demand change. Yet, despite their efforts to address issues like poverty and police brutality, they faced intense government opposition through COINTELPRO, a counterintelligence program aiming to neutralize domestic threats, or what they perceived as threats. This war was harsh and often unconstitutional. It paints a dramatic picture. Imagine being part of a group seen as the #1 enemy by US law enforcement. Now, posthumously, the paper advocates for executive action to correct these historical wrongs through amnesty. This concept, markedly powerful. Think burying the hatchet, as the paper puts it, to unify the nation and mend old wounds through presidential powers of reprieve and pardon. A quick dig into the methodological approach. The paper's exploration of redress combines historical, legal, and policy-based reasoning to argue its case. Allen Bell calls for recognizing constitutional abuses suffered by the BPP and insists a national healing process is overdue. The research is not just a recount of past injustice, but a call for current and direct action. I know it's quite heavy stuff, right? But hang with me. It gets more intriguing. The social impact is substantial. Redress is not just about past actions, but also visions to foster better future policies on race in the US, and interestingly, globally. It's like when you sort of stop holding a grudge, and in doing so, you make space for clearer, harmonious interactions. Kind of makes you consider the weight of history's impact on today's society, huh? Among the proposed solutions, 2 forms of executive direct action, a presidential proclamation and an executive order for amnesty. The paper argues these actions could illuminate a path to justice for the BPP, their associates, and affected communities, essentially a pathway to national reconciliation. Let's switch gears a bit. Think about the tradition of presidential pardon. This isn't the first time a president could step in for civil rights injustices. From integrating the armed forces to supporting school desegregation, presidents have nudged the nation forward through executive authority. There's this part where the paper draws parallels to clemency in the Iran-Contra affair and more recent examples like exoneration efforts for other civil rights-era injustices. And this really caught my attention. The paper emphasizes not seeing the BPP as merely victims, but as vibrant agents of social change, proposing community self-help initiatives that have outlasted the organization itself. Legal challenges notwithstanding, the broader implication for social justice, according to the author, makes pursuing amnesty worthwhile despite potential legal hurdles. Getting philosophical here, but makes you ponder the narrative of history and who gets to tell it, right? Reframing stories of groups like the BPP holds more than academic value. It redefines societal perspectives. The lesson here isn't just academic, but human, understanding, acknowledging, and, dare we hope, amending our past transgressions. So, what should you take away from all this? Well, Allen Bell's paper is a compelling call to see history earnestly confronted and altered through presidential power to pave a way for systemic change. Perhaps by unpacking these past injustices, we instill faith in justice, becoming stepping stones towards a more just society, one you'd be proud to, pass on to future generations. And I think there's something personally moving about the idea of nurturing national healing by leaning into the uncomfortable conversations of civil rights' painful realities. It's hopeful. All right, folks, that's about all we have time for today. But remember, academic discussions like these are contributions to a broader societal dialogue. They aren't gospel truth, but invitations to learn, reflect, and engage actively. I'm Richard Price, and this has been another deep dive into the world of academia. Until next time, keep questioning and keep exploring.